Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Andrew Chilimo, alumni of the Alliance High School, class of 2023, and an incoming freshman pursuing a major in artificial intelligence at the University of Pennsylvania. The University of Pennsylvania is one of 8 Ivies in the entire world, and as per the moment, is the only Ivy offering a major in artificial intelligence. Now, for this series, I'll be walking you guys through when I got my KCSE results after finishing high school to getting my letter of admission from the University of Pennsylvania. And the reason I'm creating this entire series is because all along high school and even when I finished, I really wanted to go study abroad and the US in particular. However, after high school, I was really clueless. Really clueless. I didn't know what the SAT was. I didn't know what Common App and Blue Book and CSS profile were. I didn't know what to do for the next, multiple months. And yeah, I didn't know anything, like genuinely. And how people usually go about this is getting into a college access program. And there are 2 types of college access programs, the free ones and the paid ones. The free ones I knew of were 4. There's Kensap, there's Equity, there's Education USA, and there's Zawadi. Kensap is one I really respect, and it was kind of tough for me to get into it because they admit students who come from highly underprivileged backgrounds, and my family being a lower middle income bracket type of household, to some extent stopped me from being able to get in. And so I couldn't get into Kensap. Equity were only taking 84s and best students in their counties, and I was neither. I had an 83, and being in Kikuyu, in Kiambu, the other students who had 84s, and so yeah, I couldn't get into Equity. Education USA was running along for years until the year before me when the program ended. That made me really bummed, but yeah, I couldn't get in. And the last one was Zawadi. Zawadi is an all-girls college access program, and from how deep my voice is, I'm a guy, you guys can tell. And so yeah, I couldn't get into the free college access programs. And on the other hand, the paid college access programs, in all honesty, for the common Wananchi, are really expensive. They range from, the ones I knew of, range from 100k to 400k. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't think my family had 400k lying around. So I couldn't get in. And so for majority of the entire application process, I had to figure things out by myself. And all the knowledge I gained were through days and months of research. And this is knowledge I wish I had prior, because there are things I did that I shouldn't have done, and there are things I didn't do that I should have done. And so that's what I want to be conveying in the entirety of this series. Breaking down how to apply to US colleges, and yeah, giving you guys the information I wish I had when I was starting all of this. To run you through what the process looks like, I'll be giving you guys timelines. And so as soon as you get your KCSE results slip, what should you do next? That's what I'd like to term as your passion project, what you'll be doing from January all the way to August. And I'll be diving into that in a later video, but just keep that in mind, your passion project. Second thing would be doing your SATs. You want to try and do your SATs between March and August. And the reason is, beyond August, there are other activities you'll be doing that will be so time consuming. Trust me. Till this day, I thank the Lord that I did my SAT in June, because I know the stress that comes with the work you'll have to do after August. And so I highly recommend that you plan your time so that you can be able to do your SAT from March to August. And that will entail your preparation and doing the actual test. In case you're not satisfied with your score, planning from March to August allows you to retake the SAT again, and so trying to get a higher score. So that's what you'll be doing from March to August. On August 1st, the Common App portal opens. Common App is where you'll be doing your application from, and that's where you'll be writing your essays. That's where you'll be listing your extracurricular activities. That's where you'll be stating what you did from January to August. And so, yeah, it opens in August 1st. And from August 1st moving forward, you'll be working on your essays and stuff. And so, yeah, that's what's next. One thing I'd like to suggest is part of your Common App application will involve getting recommendation letters from teachers. These are letters in which your teacher explains who you are as a person. And there are two main things that I'd like to mention in that regard. When you're getting your recommendation letters, get them from a teacher who knew you really well. I'll be diving much deeper into this later, but get them from a teacher who knew you really well and ask them in advance. And I will tell you why. As a teacher, you have classes from 8 in the morning till more or less 5 in the evening. That's exclusive of preps, because in some schools, there are night preps, there are morning preps, and in some schools, teachers have to show up for those. And so, putting yourself in the shoes of a teacher, you have to do all this teaching, at the same time write a letter for one of your former students. If you ask them to write them for you a week prior to the deadline, they may not have time to write you a really good letter, because you're not the only one. Keep in mind, you're not the only one asking for a letter. There are multiple students from your school applying to study in the US. And so there are probably going to be like 10 students asking that one particular teacher to write them a letter. If I'm being honest, I don't think they'll be able to do all 10 perfectly. And so if I was to give a time frame, start texting your teachers about your recommendation letters as early as June. By September, make sure you've gotten the letters themselves. By September, I cannot emphasize this more, because you'll be applying to early decision and early action schools, and the deadline for those is November 1st. You want to be having your letters by end of September. Trust me. So yeah, keep that in mind. The next stage in your application process would be selecting the schools you want to be applying to. And there's a maximum of 20, but just because 20 is a maximum doesn't mean you have to apply to 20 schools. You can apply to 10, you can apply to 5, not that recommended, but you can apply to 10 schools. And yeah, what follows after that is your financial aid segment. This is where you'll be putting in details about your family's finances, their sources of income, their properties, your family expenses, things like education, sicknesses, and all that. You'll be filling it in your CSS profile. And that takes some amount of time, like 2 weeks or something, just getting all those documents and stuff. And so you'd want to plan to do this from around the second week of August to the second week of September, just to get it done as early as possible. Because when you're submitting your application on November 1st, you'll also be submitting your financial aid profile. And so you want to get done with your financial aid part mapema, so that your mind is free and all you can focus on are your applications and writing those essays, listing those extracurricular activities, describing vividly what you did during your gap year and all that. It takes a lot of writing. If I'm being very honest, the reason I want you guys to be done with your recommendation letters and your financial aid segment mapema, or mapema means early, is because I wrote, and this is me being very honest, I wrote more than 130 essays throughout my entire application process. 130 whole essays. That was me writing an essay, revising it, removing some things, adding new things, discarding the entire essay entirely and starting afresh. And that can take a lot of your mental peace and your mental capacity. And so you're gonna get done with all these other things mapema, so that, I don't know why I keep on using that mapema. You're gonna be done with all these things earlier on, so that you get as much time as possible to focus on working on your application itself. So that's what you'll be doing from August 1st till November 1st. Just working on your application and making sure that at least by the last week of October, you have everything done. You don't want to be the guy submitting on November 1st at 11:59 p.m. You want to be the guy who will be submitting on, let's say, 30th October. Because what happens sometimes is, because most people are submitting their applications last minute, there's a likelihood that the portal might have a problem. And imagine not getting into the school you've been dying to get into because you submitted everything last minute and yeah, it didn't go through. So yeah, make sure you have everything intact by the last week of October. The next thing would be submitting your application to your early action or early decision school. And I'll be diving deeper into this in a much later video, but that's November 1st. You'll get feedback on your early action stroke early decision school between December 15th and December 23rd. So that's a bit before Christmas. And your responses can be three. Either you can be accepted, waitlisted, or rejected. And what type of feedback you get determines whether you'll be submitting your applications to regular decision schools. I'd love to expound on that right now, but I feel like that would take like a proper 4 minutes, just diving into all those possible instances and possible scenarios. And so I'll leave that for a later video, but you'll get your feedback from December 15th to December 21st. And after that, depending on what you get, you may or may not have to apply to regular decision schools. In the event you do have to apply to regular decision schools, that will be happening from January 1st to January 7th. And that's you just sending in your applications depending on the school's deadline. If you do go the regular decision route, you'll be getting feedback from late March to late April. And yeah, after you get your decision, if you get accepted by any school during your regular decision round, you have to lock in on one school by May 1st. May 1st is the day by which you need to have selected a school that you will be going to. And yeah, pressing accept on their portal. After that, it's a whole other story of visas and other things I'll be diving into at the very end of this process. And so, yeah, that's how the whole application process looks like. Doing a project you're passionate about from January to August. This is just a brief overview. A project you're passionate about from January to August. Doing your SATs from March to August. Starting your essays and your extracurricular activities from August to November 1st, getting your recommendation letters from, you want to talk to your teachers from June, as early as June, so that you can get your letters by end of September. Filling in your financial aid profile from second week of August to maybe second week of September. Submitting to your early decision school on November 1st. Getting feedback from December 15th to December 23rd. Depending on the feedback you get, submitting your application to regular decision schools from January 1st to January 7th. And getting feedback on your regular decision schools from late March to late April. And finally, locking in on the school you want to go to by May 1st. I think that's more or less everything. I'll be diving into each and every single one of these segments in later videos, but that more or less sums up what you'll be doing from when you get your results to later next year. Yeah, I think that's more or less everything. My throat is dying, so see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, press like, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, see you guys next time. Peace.